All right, kids, here we are. Here we go. Let's get it on. It's the Matt Murphy radio portion of the broadcast day on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Pleased you've joined us. Whatever time you're able to give us, I'm so thankful. We have 180 full minutes, 180 of them, and we're going to utilize every single one of them today on this Friday, May 3rd. Oh, tomorrow's May the 4th. Thank goodness we don't have to be on the air when it's May the 4th. I mean, maybe some of you will be listening to some of our fabulous weekend programming tomorrow on Super Talk 99.7 WT. And if that be the case, then fare thee well and enjoy it. I'm just happy we don't have to be on the air tomorrow. By the way, Bell K's behind the glass, making sure that everything that comes out of our speakers sounds as good as humanly possible. Hello, Bell.
Hello. I'm a little bummed that Cinco de Mayo is not on Saturday.
Instead of Sunday?
Yeah, because school day, school night and everything.
Every day's tequila day. Every day is tequila day.
Some days more so than others.
Oh, I remember. Trust me. I hearken back to those days over at the Tin Roof. Remember that? No, yeah. You don't remember that because we drank too much tequila. That's why.
I remember enough.
Yeah.
You had the good sense to stop.
That's true. Anyway, so today's May 3rd. The reason that I thought of this is tomorrow is May 4th, which is known as Star Wars Day amongst the nerds. May the 4th be with you. And then then it's the Revenge of the 5th. See what they did there? See? Because it rhymes with Sith, also known as Cinco de Mayo. My favorite meme on Cinco de Mayo, I don't know why it makes me laugh. I feel stupid every time I laugh. Have you seen the one with the rock and the mayonnaise?
No.
They take a big jar of mayonnaise. I'll send you the picture. It's just a photo that you send out. You don't make comment on it. It's a photo. It's a well-known photo that you send out on Cinco de Mayo. And it's a big jar of mayonnaise, and it's got a rope around it. And the rope is tied to a big rock, and it's like next to a river. And it makes me giggle every time I see it. I don't know why. It's Cinco de Mayo.
Oh, I quit.
You didn't get it at first. You didn't get it.
That's
terrible. It was so
terrible.
dumb, you didn't get it.
I'm actually proud that I didn't get that.
You should be. And I'm not proud that I like it, but I do. All right, road rage incident coming up. Also, we're going to take a break early because we have John Rich coming up. His new, well, it's not new. It's season 5, I think now. The Pursuit with John Rich is on Fox Business, coming out tomorrow for a brand new season. We'll talk to John about that, good friend of the show. John's doing a lot of interviews promoting this, and I'm excited to talk to him about that. I'm also excited. Did you hear what he did for the fraternity brothers up at the University of North Carolina?
Well, I heard
Chapel Hill.
He was planning on doing a show for him.
He said that any show you want, anytime you want, I'm there for you. Good for him. That's how you promote and encourage good things happening on our college campuses. So we'll talk to John Rich about that as well, coming up just about 10 or so minutes from now. You on the phones, of course, it's First Amendment Freestyle Friday, 615-737-9986, 615-737-WWTN. You can also check us out on the Members Nutrition Super Text line at the same numbers. Check us out on our social medias at Matt Murphy Show. Follow me, would you? Would you follow me? And you can find us on a variety of different platforms where I ask you to click whatever button you need to click to make your voice known about how much you like and appreciate what we do on the Matt Murphy Show and Super Talk 99.7 WTN. If you do like it. That's, click the thumbs up button, the like, the subscribe, whatever it might be, because we're on a lot of different platforms, including television. Believe it or not, they let this ugly face on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, on Super Talk TV. Bell K chooses not to participate because he's too much of a pretty boy, but it is episode 566, and today's episode is entitled
Matt Murphy, Instigator, making gates instantly for anyone who wants one.
That's true. You know, it's one of my favorite, it's one of my all-time top 10 lines in the theater is about fences. Not gates so much, but fences. And it's a fabulous play by August Wilson called Fences. It was made into a movie. Denzel Washington starred in the film. I think James Earl Jones originated the lead role on Broadway. But it's during the context of the play, this guy's basically driving away his entire family. And during it, he's building a backyard fence. And his buddy toward the end of the play says, some people build fences to keep folks in, and some people build fences to keep folks out. It's just a great line. Anyway.
Well, Garth Brooks actually saw that play and decided to name the album No Fences.
That's my understanding. And Garth, if you want to call in and dispute what we understand, that anecdotal story that we understand to be true, why don't you leave the Goodlettsville Publix with all of your fried chicken and give us a call at 615-737-9986. So I saw this today. I don't know. It's just a story that I think is relatable to all of us that have been stuck in Nashville traffic from time to time. So I'm coming in. Most of you know I live out in Mount Juliet. I'm looking for a new place, by the way. So anybody want to offer me a place for sale, let me know. That's just because I'm renting in Mount Juliet. Tried to figure out the lay of the land, one way or the other. So I'm coming in. You got to get past the airport traffic, and then there's the big merge. That's where 24 and 40 come together. 440 shoots off that way. If you're going 24 toward Murfreesboro, you shoot off that way. And if you're coming into town, you're merging with 24 and 40. And so that's a pinch point. And everyone that travels it on the regular understands it to be a pinch point where there's a lane. So I noticed this honk that happens, and there's a car that's trying to merge over, and this car has swooped in where the lane is ending. Like cars try to do, they swoop by all the other cars as the lane is ending, and they act like a-holes, and they try to sneak in there like that. And I'm not talking about taking advantage of the full lane. I'm not against that. I'm talking about you're in the you're on the side of the road. The lane is already ended, and you demand that the other guy give up a little space so you can get in there. And the other guy that this guy was trying to get in front of was having none of it. And so this guy's honking at this guy, and the other guy's honking at the other guy, and everybody's honking at one another. And then finally, the guy that's actually in a lane of traffic decides to be the better person, and he backs off and lets this dude in. So at this point, I've heard the honking, and I look over, and I think, well, the guy that got let in rolls down his window. And I'm thinking he's rolling down his window to wave, thank you for finally being a nice person. No, he rolls down his window to shoot him the one-finger salute.
Well, that could have been a wave with just one finger.
Maybe, I don't know.
Got to think positive, Murph.
I mean, what I got to think, well, here's your first mistake, bud. If you're stuck in traffic, if you get in front of someone and you want to give them the old one-finger salute and then off you go. I do this often on the motorcycle. Well, not often. I don't do it often. But on occasion, if I'm in front of you, then I don't really have any worries when I'm on the motorcycle. Have I told you about my motorcycle shirt that E won't let me wear?
No.
The shirt on the back of the shirt says, would that cell phone work better if it was shoved up your bleep? That's what it says on the back of the shirt. Would that cell phone work better if it was shoved up your caboose? By the way, if that's our man, ask him how long he has. I need to know because I know his schedule is very tight. Just ask him his length of time. So anyway, long story short, this guy flips the other guy off, and the other guy behind him, so there's a merge, there's a mild dispute. The guy acquiesces and lets him into the lane of traffic, and then this guy shoots him the bird, and the other guy rolls down his window, and he shows off what he's got, which was his gun. He doesn't point it at him. He just holds it up. Like, okay, you've got a middle finger. I've got a Glock 19.
I win.
Thankfully, it didn't go any further. All right, real quick timeout, and we'll get with John Rich in just a moment, talking about his season 5, I think it is, of The Pursuit now on Fox Business, amongst other things. Excited to have this conversation next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. How long does... Okay, but this counts? Okay. Well, just try to shorten this as much as you can. Move crap around. I know it's hard, but move it to the bottom or whatever. Super Talk 99.7 WTN 1216, almost 1217. The Matt Murphy Show just getting underway in progress. Thank you for being with us on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Always good to catch up with this next guest. John Rich is known to all country music fans, really all music fans around the United States of America and around the globe. He is also a great patriot, a great American, and he has a wonderful show that is coming back to Fox Business tomorrow night, it's my understanding. It is called The Pursuit with John Rich, and he joins us to talk about it on The Murphy Show today. What is up, John?
Hey, Matt. Thanks for having me on, brother.
And it's my pleasure. Thanks for making some time with us. I know you're talking a lot about the new season and the new episodes of The Pursuit on Fox Business. I mean, talk to me about this. I mean, this thing was hot, and then it went away for a minute, and it's back. Do I have this right?
Yeah. It's been kind of coming on, and then they take a break, and then a few more episodes, and they take a break for the last 2 or 3 years. But it's called The Pursuit. And it's a show that I created the concept for based on the simple fact that we don't have the right to be happy in America. We have the right to pursue happiness in America. And so I wanted to find people who had pursued happiness in this country and pursued it greatly and sit them down and get the real stories behind what all they've had to go through to get to where they are. And so it's like a 30-minute episode per guest, easy to watch, totally positive, which I think we need right now with everything going on. Like, unplug for a minute and watch something positive about the country. And, man, it's some pretty crazy guests. It's like Tim Tebow, Wolfgang Puck. Wait till you hear Wolfgang Puck's story. Wolfgang Puck, as a young boy, was basically an orphan in Austria and contemplated jumping off a bridge, was going to kill himself at about 12 years old, and then he got a job working in the basement of a kitchen peeling vegetables. And then he saved up his money so he could get a ticket to America, came to America, became a citizen, and then the rest is history. It's Wolfgang Puck. So there's all these stories that are incredible that people don't really know that I've been able to put a spotlight on. So that is what The Pursuit is. It's Saturday night, 8 Eastern, 7 Central.
You know, for me, and I don't know if this was in your mind developing the concept or not, but obviously the pursuit of happiness that we all know from the Declaration of Independence. But it also, there's a commonality no matter where people come from. Successful people always have this internal drive. They have something about them. It could come from many different places, but whether it's, I know you've talked to the late, great Charlie Daniels on the show. You've talked to Richard Petty on the show. You've talked to so many different figures from different backgrounds. And you yourself, John, are an example of this, that if you have that internal fire, that internal drive to make a difference in your own life and by extension in the lives of others, you can overcome just about anything.
That's very true. And I think as Americans, sometimes we take it for granted that in the Declaration of Independence, it calls life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness inalienable rights, meaning you were born with these rights. The government didn't give them to you, and the government can't take them away. Well, we're very unique that our country puts it that way. That's how they tell us to live our lives. And that's the reason why everybody on the planet is lined up at our back door and has been forever trying to get in here. They want a shot at exhausting their potential, but we're born with it. We live here. And so it's always been me. Listen, I'm nothing fancy, high school diploma, nothing big in my background. But I was raised being told all the time by veterans in my family, by my dad, hey, John, if you think big enough and you work really hard, man, you just never know what might happen. So go out there and get them. That's always been my attitude. That's how I raised my boys. This is America. It doesn't mean you're going to get it. The word pursuit, the definition of that word means to be in motion. And that means that happiness must be a moving target, Matt, because it's not sitting still in the corner just waiting on you to walk up. You got to chase it down. And a lot of times happiness is a changing definition for all of us, decade by decade. I know it is for me. And so it's a constant pursuit. And whether you ultimately get everything you want is not the point. It's the fact that you have a right to go after it.
One of my favorite quotes, outside of biblical quotes and some other types of things like that, one of my favorite quotes is from Samuel Beckett. He said, "Ever tried, ever fail, try again, fail better." And the point is, it doesn't mean just because you've tried and you failed and you try again, that doesn't mean you're going to succeed the second time or the third time or the fourth time. It just means that you pursue being better in whatever you happen to be doing, which is part of what I love about the show, because it really does encapsulate that concept, and it brings it home to the United States of America and reminds people that we have that opportunity in this country, unlike others. And John, I got to ask you, considering what's going on, I mean, sometimes I'm naturally a pessimist and I have to fight against it. Sometimes I look around and I see what's going on college campuses and all of that, and I just get so pessimistic and I shake my head. And then I see what happened in North Carolina, and I know you saw it because I know what you proposed, brother. And congratulations to you in what you are planning on doing for those students out in North Carolina. I'm talking about those that protected Old Glory yourself.
Yeah, the boys at UNC. So when I saw the image of those frat boys holding up the American flag and not letting it hit the ground, the first thing I thought was, well, somebody raised them right, because when I was a boy, I was told, hey, John, don't ever let the United States flag touch the ground under any circumstances. Never let it touch the ground. It's the biggest disrespect you could ever show for the flag. And you grew up knowing that. I went, well, these boys obviously know that, because they were holding it up off the ground while being pelted with rocks and sticks and water bottles and cans and all kinds of stuff. They didn't throw them back. They just stood there and took it and made sure the flag didn't hit the ground. I was so blown away by that. I just went on Twitter, X. I didn't know how to find them. I said, hey, if anybody knows how to find these guys, tell them I'll play a free concert for them when they have their big party to celebrate the flag and freedom. And, man, it went absolutely crazy after that. My phone has been blowing up for 36 hours now. I've had all kinds of artists hitting me up saying, hey, when you guys get a date for that show, count me in. Lee Greenwood texted me and said, you think they'd want to hear God Bless the USA at that event? I said, yeah, I'm pretty sure they'd want to hear that, Lee Greenwood.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Absolutely.
I got a message from the leader of Bikers for Trump in North Carolina, and he said, hey, John, I hope you book a very big arena, because we're all coming to this event whenever you decide is the date. So I think it's going to turn into a massive celebration of freedom and the flag and patriotism. We're going to call it Flag Stock, which I think is the perfect name for something like this, and I hope that it inspires other campuses to take that and do their own event. They should do pro-America events all around the country, and I really feel that may happen.
Oh, absolutely. Flagstock is a perfect name, obviously, and what a great way to show. I mean, and I know this is probably, I don't know, I don't want to presume what you were thinking when you tweeted out and said, hey, these guys, anytime you want a concert with John Rich, I'm there. But what a great way to demonstrate how many good people we have across this country. Sometimes I get caught up in it. You know, it's what I do for a living, John. When you're watching the news, you can kind of get a little down on this country, but things like what happened in North Carolina, your response and what you inspired in other people reminds me that most of America is still great. Most of Americans, they still get it. They understand that we live in the greatest country on God's green earth.
I think that's a fact, actually. I think the reason we come to the conclusion that, wow, America's youth is completely shot. They're totally gone. We have no future. Look at America's youth. I think that's because America's youth that gets on television are the ones that are doing the stuff like this on the campuses. But for every one of them, there are multiples of them around the country that are just working hard, studying hard. They have an American dream too. They want to build a family too. They want to go out and build on what their family has already built for them. And so they don't really cause trouble. They don't wind up on TV. They don't go on social media and post stupid things. They just go to work. And I really think that's the vast majority of them. And seeing those boys at UNC do that really lit a fire in me that, man, this is a flame that needs to be kindled. We need to encourage people to have courage. It's the one trait right now that every American needs to find, and that is courage. The opposition has plenty of courage, and what they're fighting for is terrible. I mean, they're so convicted about what they're pushing. They're willing to stand out there, get arrested, dragged off campuses. And okay, so where's the other side of that? Where's our side? Where's the American side? Where's the hardworking, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness side of this equation? I want everybody to adopt that mantra. You're going to have courage. We're going to stand up. You don't have to do anything crazy. You can just stand out there and sing. And when a bunch of Americans all get together and sing the national anthem at the base of a flag, it's really tough for those protesters to do anything about it.
Amen. You know, I told Bel K, my producer, that I was going to pick on you when I got you on and tell you that you now have the my second favorite show on Fox Business. And it's only behind Kelsey Grammer's Historic Battles for America.
That's a great one. I love that show.
Absolutely fab. And I was watching it the other night, and it's top of mind. And I was watching the courage during the American Revolution of these patriots that stood up for what they believed in and stood up for freedom and liberty. And it reminded me that we need those patriots now more than ever. You're one of those patriots, John Rich. I know that time is very precious to you, especially today, as you talk about the relaunch of The Pursuit with John Rich on Fox Business. And you know how much I value everything that you do, not only in Nashville, not only in Tennessee, but across the United States and around the world.
Well, I appreciate it. I will draw one line to what you just said when you talk about historic battles. So when I saw those boys at UNC keeping the flag from hitting the ground, it reminded me of a story in history at Fort McHenry. So this is when the entire British Navy showed up, all of them, and they all turned broadside and started launching cannonballs, every single one that they had at Fort McHenry. They were trying to end the end the War of 1812 right then. This was in 1814. And this is where Francis Scott Key wrote the Star-Spangled Banner. And when it says, and our flag was still there, the only reason the American flag could still be seen is because it was propped up with the dead bodies of patriots that had been killed in that battle. And when the whole thing was done and they went through Fort McHenry to gather up all the dead bodies, the historical account of that is it was a pile. I don't know how many it was. It was a lot. They were taking the dead soldiers and they would push them up and up against that flagpole to make sure it did not touch the ground and It did not fall. So when I saw those boys doing that, even though they weren't in a battle necessarily, to me it tapped back into that original patriot fire that our founders and ones after them had. And now it's our turn. It's our turn to tap back into that and not back up. Matter of fact, step forward. Forget about not backing up. How about step forward? Step forward, be counted, be heard. And I'm telling you right now, the opposition will not know what to do if that happens.
And I remind people, and I know you already know this, John, the last line of the lyrics of the Star-Spangled Banner, which was originally a poem, it's a question. It's not a statement. It's a question. Oh, say, does that Star-Spangled Banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? And it's a question that has to be answered every day, every moment of our lives. We have to protect those freedoms, otherwise we lose them.
That is a powerful point. I'm glad you made that. You're exactly right. So God bless them and everybody else out there. This is going to be a wild year, but you need to stand your ground. And if you've got enough nerve in you, even step forward.
Yes, sir.
I think that's how we turn the tide.
Well, you're the tip of that spear, brother. We appreciate you, appreciate The Pursuit on Fox Business and everything else that you're doing. And we'll talk to you again soon, John. Take good care, man.
Thanks, man. Have a great day.
All right, you too. There's John Rich. Oh, sorry, your light was on. Did you have a question for John?
Yeah,
I was
did.
all in the moment.
Scott Pressler had expressed interest in doing a voter registration drive at that show. And I was wanting to find out if he had had any conversations with them about setting that
My
up.
apologies. I just noticed your light was on. I'm sorry. Belle, I apologize. But
that's okay. Next time I'll just interrupt and I'll be like, fix your camera.
Here's the deal. I got his digits, so we're all good. We'll work that out. I mean, you got Pressler. I mean, you long hairs stick together, right?
Absolutely.
So
I see him at the union meetings all the time.
No, but Scott, for those who don't know, Scott Pressler, known as the Persistence online, wants to do a voter registration deal at the event. We're calling it Flagstock.
Flagstock, yeah. He's basically a GOP activist, but his focus is on voter registration to get as many conservatives and Republicans, because they are different, registered to vote that aren't registered.
Yeah. I mean, I love it. I absolutely love it. And we've had Scott Pressler on the show before, and we'll do it again very soon. It's 12:31, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Your thoughts? It's a First Amendment Freestyle Friday. People, line it up. 615-737-9986. Back after this. You know, I meant to tell you, Bell, to contact J.K. Brister at U.S. Pest. I need to find out from J.K. what is our motivation here on U.S. Pest's social medias. You know, J.K., the owner, J.K. along with Erica, the owners of U.S. Pest Protection, they're so great at what they do. They're going to protect your home from the creepy crawlies and the bugs that are trying to get in. You know, the bugs don't like the super cold like us. The bugs are more like us than we would have you believe. Right? Because they don't like the super cold, so they want to come inside. They don't like the super hot, so they want to come inside. During the spring, they want to come inside. During the fall, they want to come inside. They want in your house. They try to take over. How do you stop that? From the spiders and the roaches and all the other nasties. I mean, I can't stand it. Well, you call U.S. Pest. USPest.com. That's USPest.com. I'll give you the number in just a moment. But the reason I want to talk to JK, if you've not seen their cicada game on their social medias, go and follow U.S. Pest on Facebook. The cicada action that's happening over there, some of the videos that they're presenting, they're finding cicada. I don't know where they go to find these things. I guess when you're U.S. Pest, you know. If you know, you know. But their videos are pretty hilarious. So find out more by following them on social media, or follow me. I'm sharing a lot of their videos. And when it's time to get rid of those creepy crawlies and those bugs and those nasties that you don't want inside of your home, termites too, U.S. Pest. 590-1260. That's 615-590-1260. Tell them Matt Murphy sent you to U.S. Pest, USPest.com. Who's your health plan man? Do you remember, salesperson? I don't even. Do I have time to pee? Why not? Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Matt Murphy Show. Line them up if you want to be a part of First Amendment Freestyle Friday. Friday J officially begins at about 1:05 this afternoon. Jay St. Clair will give us the latest update on the Trump trial. We've not talked about Trump trial lately. Hope Hicks is on the stand. Breathlessly, #NeverCNN is declaring that this is explosive testimony from the Trump trial. It seems to me when Trump trial is going on in New York City, CNN believes that there are no other news stories to get to because every time I look at #NeverCNN, and I do it as an occupational hazard, I do it so you don't have to, that's all that they're covering when they are in session.
I've just hit a wall with these people to where it's like I genuinely want one of these so-called explosive stories or bombshells to be true, because for the last 7 years, all they've done is tell us they've got a bombshell, they've got a bombshell, they've got a bomb. Where is one of them ever come true?
Well, I mean, it's rare. I mean, I understand how they get eyeballs. I mean, I get it. I understand the game that they play. You have to have a Fox News alert for. I mean, CNN's not the only one that does it. They all do it, right?
So
how many
tiring,
damn Fox News alerts do we have to go through? It's a Fox News alert. What wears me out more than anything, Bell, is what you're talking about to the nth degree, where they have a breaking news story about something that happened in history.
On this day in 1942.
Breaking news. I mean, you know what? You're talking about breaking news and you're discussing something that happened. An update on something that happened 6 months ago. It's breaking news. No, it's not breaking news. We used to run when I was down in Birmingham and I was in control of some of the liners or whatever. We would run little liners that like, you break it, you buy it. You know what I mean? Not like, just because, I mean, the whole breaking news thing is so done and overdone. We don't break the news. We fix the news. Which I always liked that line because I feel like more often than anything, we get on radio and we speak to the real people of the United States of America, all of you good folks that are listening during the Libertarian Lunch on the Matt Murphy Show. And we fix what CNN breaks. We fix what MSNBC breaks. We repair those things that they don't fully cover or comprehend.
It's like the boy who cried wolf, except they don't expect people to get habitualized to it.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose.
Give me one bombshell, please. That's true. I would love it.
Somebody is, we've got some, I mean, in the spirit of the openness that we like to enjoy on Super Talk 99.7 WTN, and the membersnutrition.com super text line is up and running, 615-737-9986. You can also give us a call, anything on your mind if you want to talk Trump trial. I'll tell you, there's not a lot of, I mean, I'm honest with you, right? These mainstream media networks aren't going to be honest. I don't see a lot of breaking news today. I see a lot of aftermath over what went down on college campuses around the country over the last week or so. You've seen most of the most egregious examples of anti-Semitism, threats, intimidation, etc., restriction of movement types of things. You've seen those examples dispersed, UCLA, Columbia, Yale, Harvard, these types of things. There are still encampments that are going on. And I want to draw a line of distinction here, and it is important that we understand it. I think it's important that we understand it and respect it. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or of the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Peaceably to assemble and to petition the government. The main concern that I have with regard to what some on certain college campuses are doing, they're not only spewing hatred and filth, that's one thing. They are restricting freedom of movement, that's a different thing. They are threatening and intimidating, that's a different thing. They are decidedly not peaceful protest, that's a different thing. Those things are not guaranteed by God and certified by the Constitution of the United States of America. So let's make a distinction. I had someone ask me last night, good friend of mine, hey, what about these Vandy protests, buddy? When are you going to talk about those? Well, one, I talked about them yesterday. But two, this is not about an individual's ability to speak openly in the United States of America and demonstrate themselves a fool. You know, I was a believer in this long before I even knew that I was a believer in this. I told this story. If you go look up old copies of the McDuffie Progress in McDuffie County, Georgia, in our little hometown of Thompson, Georgia, no P, Thomson, no P in Thompson. You take it somewhere else. You will eventually find a photo of me. I'm wearing I was proud of it. I'm wearing, it's a camo hat. You know, remember I told you the story about the bucket hat that I bought, the comment that my grandpa made about the bucket hat that I can't say on the radio?
Yes.
So I shifted from that to a bucket camouflage hat, which he did not have anything to say about. So if you look long enough, you'll find a photograph of me standing in attendance in audience during a Klan march. That exists. Now, I'm not in any way participating in the Klan march. Here's how that came about. I think I was 14 years old. The KKK, which we always thought were dumb, and thank goodness my grandpa raised me the way that he did, because he thought those people were the stupidest people on planet Earth. And he experienced and told me some stories about what the Klan did to some of the best people he had ever met, some of the finest people he ever knew, black and white. And so he had nothing for the Klan, and he had nothing for that level of racism. Now, my grandfather was a product of his generation. Let's make no bones about it. And so my grandfather thought differently about color than I do. He thought differently about race than I do. I would suggest to you that if you pinned me down on it, I would say that, yes, my grandfather was racist in many ways. But my grandfather was also closer to the black community than most human beings that walked the earth in South Carolina in 1948 and 49 and 50, because he got relocated with the rest of them because of the... Anyway, I don't want to go down that road. I feel like Joe Biden. I'm telling old stories with no point to them. The point is this. Thank you, Joe. We had an open conversation about this, and so when they came to town, the Klan planned this march through Thompson, and my grandfather had a lot to say about it. He talked about how dumb they were, how stupid they looked, how... I remember him telling me, he said, every Klan member you meet, he said, every Klan member you meet wearing those stupid sheets that they ruined is dumber than the last one you met. I remember him telling me that. So with all of that in mind, when the Klan came to town, I wanted to see what the spectacle was about. And so Steve Cheeley, Clint Waller, and myself left school and went down. It was like on a Friday afternoon, and we watched the Klan march through McDuffie County. And they were the biggest idiots I'd ever seen in my life. The point being, why do we let them do that? Why do we let morons act like morons? Well, one, you can better identify them. Two, you allow morons to be morons to attempt to understand where they're coming from, where their emotional arguments might be coming from, and you know thy enemy. You keep them close so that you understand how to defeat them in the arena of ideas. It's better than them hiding in the shadows, obviously. So, that said, and yes, I would compare much of what's happening. I'll absolutely defend this. Call me and tell me. I would love to talk. See, I would love to talk to one of these Free Palestine people, but they won't talk to you. Have you noticed that? Do you know what this pro-Palestine, Free Palestine, pro-Hamas, these groups have in common with the Klan and BLM and Antifa? They all have commonality, don't they? And it is, they are not willing to walk into an arena where someone else has differences of ideas and differences of opinions and sit down and discuss the differences of opinion and actually engage in a certain level of debate on those opinions, because they don't have an ability to do so. The Klan doesn't. Free Palestine doesn't. BLM doesn't. Antifa doesn't. The commonality is they cannot discuss their viewpoints in a rational setting. Instead, they choose to stand and march and scream and chant and, generally speaking, make fools of themselves. However, in America, at least the America that I understand, you have every right in the world to make the fool of yourself that you want to, so long as you're not denying the rights of other people to live a life of their choosing. Why is it important? It's important because those speech rights, those other rights as certified and codified in the Constitution of the United States of America, they're not so sacrosanct that we can't lose them. And if we don't protect the fringe elements, we become the fringe elements. We become the fringe if we don't protect the fringe. What's we all know the old, I didn't speak for the tradesman because I was not a tradesman. I didn't stand up for the print shop maker, and because I was. Then they came for the Jews, and there was nobody to stand up for me. I'm mangling the quote, but I think you remember the quote. The Vanderbilt University campus protest, I don't have a problem with, at least as I understand it. They are in a corner of the campus. They're encamped in the campus. The people that run the campus say that they're not violating any rules. They don't seem to be intimidating or threatening anyone. They don't seem to be threatening Jewish students. They don't seem to be monitoring or restricting freedom of movement along those public spaces within the campus. And as long as that is the case, have at it, bro. Enjoy yourself. Just don't start taking down the American flag and replacing it with other symbols. Thank you. Don't intimidate or harass other students. Thank you. Don't threaten in such a way that you're going to incite a riot. Thank you. Don't restrict freedom of movement. Thank you. And don't restrict freedom of expression from a differing point of view. As long as you do that, you're fine. That's not what was happening at Columbia. It's not what was happening at UCLA, which is why those installations had to be dispersed. And one of my super texters on the Members Nutrition Super Text line asks this question. 1089, why do they say Free Palestine? They say Free Palestine because they want to kill all the Jews. I hope that answers your question. Whether the skulls of mush that chant it know that or not is up for debate. But the purpose of the statement is not up for debate. Free Palestine is an extension of from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. What sea are we talking about? What river are we talking about? We're talking about the River Jordan, and we're talking about the Mediterranean Sea. And the Mediterranean Sea is where the Palestinians want to push all of the Jewish people and watch them drown. Okay? I mean, I just think it's time we put a real fine point on all of this. It's time we stop talking around what they're really saying. John says, just one man's opinion, but all of this crap that people are calling free speech, darn, isn't what our founding fathers had in mind when the Constitution was written. I disagree with you 100%, John. The founding fathers weren't a majority. No. And I respect you, John, and I appreciate what you're saying. But I'm going to get into this in a moment. Look, the founding fathers did not even have a majority of the colonists on their side. Most people were neutral on the whole thing. There were plenty of Tories, or loyalists as they were known. And there were plenty of patriots. But they were only like a third. It was kind of a thirds. A third were loyalists or Tory supporters. A third were patriots who wanted independence. And a third were like, look, man, just leave me alone. Kind of feels like today a little bit. It's 12:52, Super Talk 99.7, WTN. Hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy, and I want to remind you about the Glock store and the big event that's coming up. We've been talking about it, and for good reason, because it's big, right? The 4th annual open house at the Glock store is happening June 1st. That is a Saturday starting at about 10 a.m. I will be there, and that's a pretty big deal. Dan Mandis will be there, and that's a slightly shorter deal. Chris Hand will be there. That's a slightly taller and skinnier deal. But many of you will be there, and that's the biggest deal of all. And we want to see you. Don't just come for Hand or Murphy or Mandis. Come for the incredible specials. Like, I don't know if you heard this or not, a $1,700 Glock will be given away on the day of the event. I don't know if you know this or not, but I can't win it, which is a big bummer, because we work for the company, yada, yada, yada. But that said, that's one less person in the raffle, so you could win a 17, and that's just one of the many, many items that will be up for raffle on the big open house day. They'll have Vortex optics, they'll have red dot optics, they'll have all kinds of things to give away during these raffles. Raffles will be given away all day. I'm excited about it, and you should be too. Now, I encourage you to go to the Glock store today, tomorrow, over the weekend. The next chance you get to Airlane Drive just off of Elm Hill Pike and see the wonderful Glock store. But mark the calendar down for June 1st. Be there at 10 a.m. as we crank up the 4th annual open house. Glockstore.com or shoot270.com. Yeah, I hope these lives repair. I thought we were over the 10 threshold, so hopefully they repair. I know we lost Members Nutrition for a month. You know what? You may hate the song, but you love the sentiment. It's Friday. Something just happened to me. It's one of those things where one side of my brain is saying, do not tell this story, do not tell this story, do not tell this story. And the other side of my brain is like, well, we're all one big family. I just looked up on monitor number 3. And, I'm saying, oh, well, you love this. It's Friday. We're doing the big show. And I look up on the monitor, and there was a candle commercial. And I thought that woman was holding something that was not a candle. Well, that's what I was asking. What the hell is CNN come to? They're doing these types of ads now? I see how it is. Well, anything for a buck, I suppose. We've got 2 more hours to go. Get your questions in for Friday. Jay St. Clair, our legal correspondent, answers all of them coming up next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It's the Matt Murphy Show. Stand by. They look just like a big dildo. Did I hot mic dildo? Somebody says I did. Somebody says dildo got hot mic'd. Whatever, it's just one person. Who cares? 2862 said hot mic dildo. I don't care. I stand by the comment. Hey, folks, it's Matt Murphy. USS stands for United Structural Systems, and USSTN is your one-stop shop online to find out all things about how they can assist you. It is raining like cats and dogs. Raining cats and dogs here in the middle of Nashville, just off of Music Row. Well, during rainy seasons, that rain and that water, if it is allowed to, can get inside of your home. That can cause structural damage and issues involving your structure of your home. And with that comes a lot of different problems. You need to avoid that as much as possible. First off, make sure that water, mold, or mildew is not getting inside of your home. And all of those things are associated with one another, right? So you want to make sure that that water doesn't have access. You do that by calling USS and getting them out to your house. They're problem solvers. They will come out, examine it. If you smell mold or mildew, if you think the water is getting access to your home, that can create and cause foundation problems. Now, foundation problems can exist exterior to any water issues that you have, and you can check that out as well at USSTN.com. Best yet, just call the problem solvers that USS are. 25,000 people over the last 30 years have used them and have been 100% satisfied with their service. USSTN.com, serving all of Middle Tennessee, Southern Kentucky. It's USSTN.com. Give them a call at 615-488-7855, 488-7855 for USS. Hello. It is the Matt Murphy Radio Show. Hour number 2 starts right now. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. You know what I'm getting there, Belkay?
What do you mean?
I'm getting compliments for my shirt.
Oh yeah, I saw a couple of those.
How about that? Folks are
acid washed, man. You're back into the 80s.
I was told by a loyal listener that blue gray might be my color. How about that?
Well, that color's my favorite anyway, so.
What, tie-dyed?
No, that shade of blue.
T-shirt color?
No.
You look pretty good in this shade.
Thank you.
It matches your ruddy, grayish, locked in a room in your home with your cats and your cobra complexion. You're welcome.
Thanks.
By the way, I've been alerted that it was not they didn't catch us. I don't know how this happened, though, because the mic was off. They didn't catch us on the radio. Apparently, 2862 says that I was caught saying more about the commercial on YouTube, which I don't know how that would happen.
Yeah, that shouldn't have been able to happen. Not with the mic off. Unless you got something messed up on your little board in there.
I mean, you think TalkBack feeds through YouTube? I would hope not.
I hope not. Some of the stuff we say.
But just an inside baseball, while Bell K goes ahead and calls Jay St Clair, I know that you're not expecting this, but we're going to do Fry Jay here at 1 o'clock today. Don't give me that look. Don't give me that look. I don't need it today. I don't need your look.
Look, man, my only concern is making sure that you have a button to push in there when you have a guest, okay?
Well, and also you try to make sure that I don't say nasty words on the radio. I've been known to cuss. It's right there on my ex-profile bio. I dabble in the cursing. I admit it. It's one of the, I don't know, I have a couple of vices, but one of the few vices that I have left is I curse too much. I don't know that I curse too much. It's just not generally accepted on radio or in polite society, but I've known to curse a time or two. And so Bell, one of his primary jobs is to make sure that I'm not on a hot mic when I don't need to be on a hot mic. And I was relating, I saw, and this is truth. This is reality. I saw a candle commercial on television, and I saw it out of the corner of my eye, and it was a very attractive-looking young woman, and she was holding what I now know to be a candle, and I didn't realize it was a candle. And my immediate thought was, party at her house. You know what I mean?
In the private part of her house.
And apparently, I said one more thing about it after we left the airwaves to Bell, and apparently that was caught on YouTube. But whatever. 615-737-9986 is our telephone number, 615-737-WWT. And if you have any questions for our man, Jay St. Clair, then now's the time to get it in. We have him on once a week. He is a great legal mind. He's a true legal scholar. He is a product of the fine state of Tennessee. He's a volunteer through and through. He happens to be my best friend and my legal correspondent, life consultant, and gambling buddy. It's Friday. We were going to change the intro, and apparently the guy that did the Paul Harvey impersonation the first time around can't do it anymore because he sent me new stuff, by the way.
And it doesn't sound right?
It doesn't sound right. So I think we just keep it. Well, we'll figure it out. One way or the other, Jay St. Clair is with us on this Friday. Hello, Jay St. Clair. How are you?
Hey, buddy. You know, man, I'm going to switch up what we normally do. I am really good because I had something really good happen to me this week. It's just
Which track was it at?
No, Bill. Listen, I like home improvement projects, but I think I'm a lot handier than I really am. And I got to say, well, just sitting right here right now, man, every time I go down in my garage, I think of you. It's a piece of art. It's an absolute piece of art.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Well, this week, man, my air conditioner quit working.
Uh-oh.
Well, it was running, but it wasn't blowing cold air.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, oh, man. And, you know, I was real busy with work and it cost money and whatnot. And I said, well, you know, all these people think they're lawyers now. And they get on the internet and they read something and then they think they're lawyers. Well, I'm going to go be an air conditioner repairman. I'm going to get on the internet and figure out what's wrong with my air conditioner and fix it. And, Matt, I did. And I am so pleased with myself that I can't stand it. That's just great.
Well, I mean, congratulations, Jay. I mean, it's amazing. I don't know what we're going to do with those home improvement projects when YouTube goes down. Because let me tell you something. I mean, did you use YouTube? Did you find the project on YouTube?
No, right. Because the hardest part of it is troubleshooting it, right? I mean, the first thing to do, you got to figure out what's wrong, and then you got to go get the right part, and that's not as simple as it sounds. And then you have to put it in without electrocuting yourself. Because it was an electrical part. But yeah, no, absolutely. You got to go to the internet, YouTube, Google, whatever. Because the hardest part of it is just figuring out what's wrong.
And how long did it take you to fix it once you figured it out, once you got the part?
45 minutes.
Nice.
The part was $15.97.
And Jay St. Clair, who could, Jay is well accomplished in his field. And right. Jay has the satisfaction of knowing that he's good for the rest of his life. And he's also one of the most frugal men I've ever met in my life. About some things. Not about everything, but about some things. How much do you think that saved you?
Oh, they've been at least $500. Somewhere between $500 and $1,000. But you're right. But the whole idea of a lawyer doing, repairing air conditioners is just funny to me. Because it's not going to go well. It starts off, the bathroom sink just has a little drip bell, just drip, drip. A lawyer goes in there to fix it. An hour later, there's a geyser, and there's a foot of water in the bathroom, and it's just awful. But not this time, man.
Well, that's good. That's good. I love that. No, there's a great satisfaction in that, Jay.
Yeah.
I have attempted a couple of those projects over the years that went well, and a few projects that have gone quite poorly.
Right.
But you know what? The great thing is there are smarter people than me that do those things for a living that can mostly come in and fix. I mean, it ends up costing you much more money than it probably would to begin with. Sure. But, right. I think that's a slogan for there's a plumbing company.
I was going to say, I love the plumber who drives around on the side of his van. It says, "We repair what your husband fixed."
That's good stuff. All right, I invited a lot of calls today, Jay. I want a lot of listener questions, but I want to start here. And I think I put this over in my saved folder because I wanted to start with this because I thought as good of a week as you're having, it's about to get better. You ready?
Okay. Great.
Matt Murphy, this is Rick. I was on your show about 6 weeks ago, spoke to you and Jay about a wreck I was in, totaling out my vehicle, other driver at fault.
Right.
Their insurance admitted fault. They lowballed me on my vehicle valuation.
Oh, he's the guy that called to say should he get a lawyer for the pain and suffering for his wife.
Yep. He said I had not heard anything for 2 months. I took Jay's advice on taking them to court.
Nice.
Within 5 days of filing, they contacted me 3 separate times. I settled with them for $10,000 more than the original value.
See, there's Rick out there practicing law.
Well,
Next week, Rick, I'll tell you what, next week, Rick, I'll come over and fix your air conditioner.
well,
Sounds like that legal advice was worth a lot more than he paid for
I
it.
think so. So he just wanted to say thanks to you, Jay. Always a great show. So there you go.
Rick, thank you so much for letting us know how that movie ends. And I tell you, sometimes if you just go stand up for your rights. See, these insurance companies figure people won't fight them. And they hate to spend money anywhere. But if you show them you're going to fight them, then they do what's right. Congratulations, Rick. That's well played, and you deserve it, sir.
5815 says, J. St. Clair AC repair. I can hear the jingle now. It does kind of roll right off the tongue there, Jay. You might have missed your calling.
I like that.
I think you're a much better lawyer than you will ever be an AC repairman, no matter how well the project went this week.
No, and we've talked about that a lot. Like my golf game's crappy, and it was. But one of my expressions, this dawned on me years ago. I am a much better golfer than Tiger Woods is lawyer, and I just leave it there.
Well, this phrase of Jay's on the golf course became especially popular in the aftermath of Tiger Woods' divorce. Jay, we're getting some questions in, and I don't want to get too in front of the listening audience, and this might burn line 3's hide because I think Scott has a question about it too, but let's start here. This is of interest to me. I think it's of interest to anyone who works under the specter of a non-compete, and I happen to believe that it is right in your area of expertise as an employment lawyer.
Really? What would make you think that?
I don't know why I would think that you would know anything about non-competes, but I do. The Federal Trade Commission has stepped out and said, you know what? Y'all aren't doing non-competes anymore. Unless you're senior this is my understanding of it. Unless you're senior management, you know what? We got to stop all this. Jay, where did this come from? Why is the FTC involved? Give us a 50,000-foot overview.
Yeah, no, it's great because this touches on one of my kind of pet peeves, Matt, how the Congress has just basically ceded their legislative power to the administrative branch of the executive branch, right? I mean, it's almost like they're a fourth branch of government. In 1945, there was a law passed that just says this. This is it, man. I've got it right here in my hands. Unfair methods of competition or unfair practices are hereby declared unlawful. That's all it says.
Huh.
And then it goes on to say this. The Federal Trade Commission may make rules and regulations for the purposes of carrying out this law. It's 2 sentences, man.
How long did you say the original OSHA bill was? Like 15 pages long or something?
Yeah, well, I mean, the guts of it are 1 page. I mean, or really 1 sentence. Every employer must provide a safe workplace. Right. And we hereby give the Department of Labor absolute authority to define what that means. Is basically what
and how many pages of regulations would you estimate we now have with OSHA? Thousands of pages.
I'm going to say 7,843.
Well, so the initial question then, Jay, is does the FTC, and I guess this will be litigated in court because I'm sure that there will be employers that file suit against this declaratory ruling. Does the FTC have this authority?
In the interest of full disclosure, my firm is preparing that lawsuit right now, man.
Oh.
And will be filed next week. Just full disclosure. That's what I do for a living, folks. I represent companies. I'm not embarrassed about it. I'm proud of what I do.
No, I think you do a great job.
It will be challenged by very good lawyers, and I think this will be it's a good case. I think employers have a good case that this is overreach on the part of the Federal Trade Commission. Mm-hmm. And again, this is one of those pet peeves. You know, I've talked about this with you for years. And Gary Palmer, I think, feels the same way about it. How Congress, well, you just read the law, or heard the law, just read it, right? One sentence. This is declared unlawful. Now we're going to create a commission of unelected people to actually go write the law. And that's what's happening here. And the Supreme Court has finally caught up with that, and they've come up with this doctrine called the major questions doctrine. This is what got Biden's, $700 billion student loan thing declared unconstitutional. Mm-hmm. That if an administrative action involves a major question, and they define what that is, then the administrative agency can't do it on their own. It takes Congress to do it, because otherwise the administrative agency is really acting like Congress. And that will be the main challenge that's made here, and it's got a lot of merit to it, Matt. I'm not going to predict the eventual outcome, but I'm just saying it's going to be a fair fight.
Well, and I should note, I don't know that it's come up in Nashville, but over the years that you and I have been talking, over our many, many years together, occasionally we address a subject matter that you might be involved with, and I always am a friend to you, and it's fair to the audience to say, I don't go there because and you're not going to go there anyway, and I respect that. I have all the respect in the world for that. So if I ask any questions about this that you can't answer, I know you'll tell me, well, I can't answer that. Yep.
No worries there. No worries there at all.
But
you're right. Bill doesn't know this, but Matt does. If you'll never hear me say anything bad about a judge on the air, Bill. Never. Because as much as I love you, Matt, and love your listening audience, I have an ethical duty to my clients. And so I'm never going to say anything on the radio that may come back against my clients.
No, and Al and I have every respect in the world for that. That said, I will admit to you that for me, this situation, because, non-competes are used in a number of businesses. They're used in the radio business. Where they don't want certain radio companies poaching the talent of other radio companies. And so they create these dynamics that exist in these non-competes. So, from a talent perspective, as we talk about this, on one hand, I'm like, well, that might be beneficial from a negotiation standpoint. But on the other side of it, I am loath to give government authority to engage or interfere with an engagement between two willing participants. And that's what it feels like that is.
Yes, it does. And let's get a little philosophical about this, Matt. If I get too dirty, let me know. I'm a big free market guy, and I know you are too. I've played for you some Milton Friedman, and we talked about when did I acquire that, and it was at the University of Tennessee. I took economics, and that's when I first got introduced to Milton Friedman. One of the smartest people of the 20th century. And so I'm a big, big believer in free markets, the power of free markets. But Adam Smith, right? I wouldn't say he invented the free market. Let's say he discovered it. The invisible hand of the market, his book, The Wealth of Nations, which I think maybe prophetically was published in 1776, in the same year they signed the Declaration. So there was the free marketplace, economic marketplace, and the free marketplace of ideas. All that's just fascinating to me. Well, Adam Smith, maybe the cornerstone of the free markets, says this, and you can look the quote up, get it exact, but he says, you put two businessmen in a room together, and it won't take long till they start fixing prices. This is Adam Smith, right? And so there is this. I mean, yes, I agree with you that free people should be able to contract as they will, but that you can't have a rigged dice game. That's right. I mean, that's not fair. So there has to be some regulations in the market because otherwise people are going to cheat.
Mm-hmm.
And then the question, right? I mean, that's just I get.
No, I get it. And the idea is have non-competes become not collusion, because I don't think anybody believes that companies are calling other companies and saying, well, this is how we're going to do it. But have they become almost a de facto rigged game? Is that a fair question to ask?
You said that exactly right. Is it perverting the market? And I'm using perverting. That's the correct legal term to use. Is it interfering unduly or unfairly with the market? And in some industries, I would say yes. And I tell you, they come in a lot of different flavors. The one that always bothered me the most, man, you know, who an industry, and you're right, it's industry specific. Not a lot of people have these, but an industry that had this all throughout it, man, and it just bugged the stew out of me, is hairdressers.
Hairdressers?
Hairdressers, these women, poor women working, long hours, not making a lot of money. They made them sign non-competes. And you know why? Because their clientele is incredibly loyal, right? The ladies are not going to give up their hairdresser.
Right.
And if their hairdresser moves to another company, if it's 20 miles away, they will follow her.
Wow.
And the companies knew that, and so the companies lose business. So they were making these poor folks making $30,000 a year, or $40,000, or whatever. Maybe more now, I don't know. But I mean, not a lot. No, well, maybe the most famous person right now or not compete, Tucker Carlson. Right? That's why he had gone to another network. I guarantee you, he's got a non-compete.
Well, hold your thought there on the subject of non-competes, and we will continue the discussion in just a moment. Scott has a question. Justin has a question. A lot of people lining up. A lot of questions on the Super Talk Members Nutrition text line. We'll get to all of them in a moment. It's 125 on Super Talk. Is McMorey here today? So I guess we'll know what we're drafting later. Okay. 133 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Moments ago, I found out what our subject is going to be on Friday Mac Attack starting at 2:05. I think Mac Morey has finally found a subject that is too big for the room. If you start thinking about it, Bell, our topic for our draft today is too big. I think we need more draft picks.
Well,
It's insane.
He's grandiose, man.
I understand
is a grandiose kind of guy.
I understand that. Do you have a strong lead on what your number one pick will be?
Yes, but it's very personal, so it's nothing you two would even know about.
Well, thanks a lot. Then I don't worry about you being in front of me in the draft.
You won't.
More on that coming up in about 30 minutes. I'm excited. Should we tease? Should we tease it?
No, because as you continue to stew on this, you're going to decide to tell him when he gets in that we need to change the draft subject.
No. This is good. I wrote down during the break. I wrote down. I just started thinking about the subject. I wrote down. I came up during the break. I came up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I came up with 14 that all could be in my top 3.
How many are food?
Hold on. Is liquor a food?
Yes.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay.
And one's going to be rather controversial that I will not pick in my top 3, but I want to discuss whether or not it's actually orange. Anyway, more on that coming up in just a moment. Jay St. Clair is with us. That's called a professional tease in the industry, ladies and gentlemen, and you can find out more about that at 2:05. But right now, we've got legal questions to answer from Jay St. Clair. Jay, considering that we were talking about the FTC and non-competes moments ago, Scott is on the line with a thought or a question about that very subject. Hello, Scott. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are y'all doing?
Doing well, Scott.
I'm assuming by the answers that Jay provided earlier that the non-compete that a bunch of us are still under is still in full effect now, correct?
Yeah, as of today, that's correct. The rule's not final, but the rule, if it goes into effect, Scott, will void non-competes that are already in place.
Okay. All right. Hopefully it'll happen soon.
Well, there you go. I mean, Scott, that sounds like a very personal question, Jay. So if the FTC has its way after this, is it 120 days? Is that right?
Yeah, there's a notice provision. I can't remember exactly what it is. But
it's never going to happen within 120 days because lawsuits will be filed, et cetera, right?
Yeah, and then, a judge might enjoin it. That wouldn't surprise me while the lawsuit's pending. That seems to be what happens these days. And it's very interesting. There were multiple lawsuits filed in many different jurisdictions, man.
Huh.
Yeah, and there was one filed in Alabama, in Tuscaloosa.
In Tuscaloosa, Alabama, of all places.
Yeah. Because I just happen to know that in federal court in Tuscaloosa, there's one judge that gets about 75% of the cases. Well, judge.
I don't know. This is one of those moments where I don't know if I should tell you to go the hard ways or not. But I will say this. Speaking of, someone brought up, I love it when our audience brings up things that we do. 4460 on the membersnutrition.com super text line says, Jay, the hard 8s are not rigged. I don't even know what that means. And also, two separate people, Lindsay and Kathy, Jay. Lindsay and Kathy appreciate the fact that you shook things up today. But Lindsay says, Jay St. Clair, we did not get the if I were any better than line. Kathy writes, Matt, ask Jay who he would be if he was any better.
Well, if I were any better, I would be that groundhog living in your backyard. Because he is now that Erica has named him, he's on the endangered species list.
He's getting fed, Jay. I was told that I wasn't supposed to cut the grass. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
What's his name?
His name's Gary. Gary the groundhog
is leading the life of Riley.
Boy, oh boy. Gary the groundhog. All right, Jay, on a more serious note, can 1016 writes in, can an employer set over... This is a funny question for you. I don't mean to laugh through it, but I'm going to ask it as seriously as it was intended. Can an employer set overtime hours at whatever they want? My employer starts overtime at 45 hours. I'm in the trucking industry.
If you are not exempt, I'm sorry, but this is a real technical area of the law, so I've got to be a little bit technical.
Okay.
The honest answer is it depends. But if you are not subject to an exemption, then no, by law, they must start paying time and a half after 40 hours. But if you're a long haul, well, let me just get to the specifics. If you're a long haul truck driver and you regularly cross state lines, this is how nonsensical the law is, man, then you are exempt from overtime. So let's say you're a truck driver in Nashville and you never cross state lines, then you have to start paying you overtime at 40 hours. Let's say you're a truck driver in Memphis, and half the time you go across the line until Mississippi or Arkansas. They don't have to pay you overtime.
Huh.
Makes absolutely no sense, does it?
No, well, on the surface it doesn't. Why is that the case?
Well, it's a complicated answer because if you cross state lines, you're subject to a different law, and that takes precedence over the overtime law. Because here's why it's that way, because the law is an idiot. That's the short answer.
Isn't that Shakespeare?
Well, no, Shakespeare's first thing we do is we kill the lawyers.
First thing we do is kill the lawyers.
And it was Charles Dickens who said, or one of his characters said, well, if the law says that, the law is an ass.
Quote, end quote, J. St. Clair. All right, Jay, let's get to a few more. Let's see. We've got Justin in Nashville with a question or comment. Justin, you have a question for our legal man, Jay St. Clair. Go right ahead, sir.
Yes, sir, Mr. Sinclair. So basically what happened was I got into an accident coming home from work, and the insurance company totaled out the car, and we had everything set up where they were going to come pick it up. They were going to pay off my loan, all that good stuff. Well, the loan company caught wind of it and circumvented the insurance company and went and picked up the car from the holding lot themselves, then put me under repossession, damaged my credit to the point where I lost my home, like that I was purchasing. Do I have any legal standing to go after them?
Absolutely you do. Did you miss a payment?
No, I didn't miss any payments. I was in perfect standing.
Yep. So then they had no right to repossess your vehicle?
Yeah, and then they tacked on another $5,000 in fees for them to go pick up the car, process it. Then we had to pay more money to get it from their tow yard. It's a total scam.
Here's what you need to do. Matt, who was the guy who wrote in and told us the result of his problem? The first guy.
Rick was the guy.
And who am I talking to right now?
This is Justin.
Justin, here's what you need to do. Call Rick. Hire him to be, not be your lawyer, because he doesn't have a law license. Talk to Rick about his experience, and then travel the road that Rick traveled, and I predict you'll get as good an outcome as Rick did. You're getting,
screwed over?
That's the technically correct legal term. Thank you, man.
Yeah, screwed over. Okay. Yeah, there you go, Justin. So you need a good lawyer, or you need a good lawyer letter, or
yep.
Yeah.
Okay, but so what do I file it as? Is that under a consumer lawyer? What kind of lawyer do I need to get, Mr. Sinclair?
Yes. Yes.
Consumer affairs.
I would don't hire Alexander Chenard. Yes, I said that. I don't know if he advertises there.
Yeah, he's got billboards, but he's not nearly as big of a deal as Morgan & Morgan.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, I wouldn't hire them either. I would. Where do you live?
Justin,
I live in Old Hickory, Nashville.
Okay. Yeah, okay, in the Nashville area. I tell you what. Why don't you? I'm on the internet. My office contact information's on the internet. Just call that number or send me an email. And I don't want to steer you the wrong way, so let me do a little snooping around and find the right person for you.
There you go.
All right, and I'll type you up more details, Mr. Sinclair, so you have the whole rundown.
Yeah, you can find his email on his website. And Justin, it's J, and thank you for the call. It's J St Clair, and just Saint is ST period, CLAIR, JAY.
I may have been mishearing him, but I was thinking he might have been calling me Sinclair. And it's a common mistake, Bill. And yes, I am more than a sinner, than a saint, but it's St Clair.
J4026 says, wife was written out of her father's will. He willed it all to his girlfriend. I don't mean to laugh. I'm sorry, but I'm reading this. He skipped out on child support, so we're suing for that. Our attorney has been dragging feet for a year now. Right. Should we, in your opinion, drop the attorney and start over? That's a tough one. A tough question to answer.
Yeah, I really would have to know a whole lot more about the facts, but I'll say this, some lawyers aren't as good as other lawyers. You know, as far as a child getting written out of a will, unfortunately, well, I was about to say you can't do anything about it. I mean, a parent has the legal right to do that. But if there was undue influence or he wasn't competent when he did it, that can be challenged. That's a real technical area. But I think your more clear case is the child support, right? I think didn't he say that he was behind on child support?
Yes.
Yeah. So that ought to be pretty easy. I mean, if your lawyer has not gotten you the relief you want on child support, it's time to get another lawyer.
Jay, one more before we have to say goodbye, and I'm going to pick Kenneth in Manchester. Kenneth, you're on with Jay St Clair. Hey, Kenneth.
Yes, I would like to know if there's any legal repercussions for burning a Palestinian flag on private property and then posting it on social media.
No, sir. While you're doing it, I'd get a Roll Tide flag.
So there's I mean, if it's your flag and it's your property, you can burn it.
Yeah, so long as you're not violating any burn ordinance, right? You know, sometimes it's the same thing as lighting a campfire. You can use the flag of a foreign country to light a campfire on your own property, and if you can post it on social media, that's fine.
Okay, that's what I needed to know. I appreciate it.
Thank you much, my friend.
If you see a Roll Tide flag rolled up and laying around, then go for a twofer.
I cut him off mid-laugh. I apologize for that, Kenneth. I didn't mean to hit the button there. Jay, in the moment or two that we have left, I wanted to ask you your opinion about how the Trump trial is going. I've had several questions about it on the Members Nutrition Super Text line. How does Jay feel about it? What happens if Trump this? What happens if Trump that? I mean, obviously, we're not predicting how the jury's reacting to any of this, but have you been following the case and any thoughts?
I have been, Matt, and to me, there's been no crime proven yet. It's bizarre, right? I mean, apparently there's no dispute that the crooked lawyer Cohen paid Stormy Daniels $130,000 for a non-disclosure agreement. There's no dispute that happened. Well, it's not illegal. That is not illegal. And they hadn't yet gotten to how the accounting within the Trump stuff was done, but they say that they booked that as legal expenses. I assume they did. Well, okay, so maybe that's just some little teeny bookkeeping crime, but that's a misdemeanor, and the statute of limitations is run. But what they're saying is, well, they didn't cook the books. They falsely entered it as legal expenses to commit another crime, which was to promote somebody's candidacy for president. Well, my word, man, if it is illegal to promote somebody running for public office, they better build a lot more prisons. I mean,
right. I mean, you can't. The argument seems to be that you cannot fudge the truth in order to promote your candidacy for office.
Yeah, or hide the truth. I mean, or lie. Well, I mean, if it were against the law for politicians to lie, man, they build a bunch of new prisons.
Well, and this is what's infuriating to me, Jay, and I tend to be more of a black and white guy. You live in the gray, which you turn into green. We've talked about that plenty. But it seems to me that a defendant in a criminal case ought to know all the charges that they're being charged before the start of the case. And it feels like Alvin Bragg is holding back how he's going to connect the misdemeanor that's already expired the statute of limitations, how that applies to what he's arguing.
I agree. It never would have federal court. It's a bizarre way of doing things. But here's my final thought about it, Matt. Though we can talk about all this we can, but it's so much of it reminds me of the OJ trial, man. You, me, and millions of other people sat there and watched that trial, drag on for months, and everybody watching it had a pretty firm opinion, about how it all turned out. Well, those 12 people on that jury said not guilty.
They did. And you know what? It's all about the jury makeup and whether or not they'll find a 12. I mean, the deck is already stacked against Trump from the political nature of the trial. So it remains to be seen. I don't know. Part of me in the back of my head wonders what amount of heads would explode across this country if they came back with a not guilty verdict. I'm not holding out on that.
It's funny. You and I are so much alike. I have the same thought. But, I got to quash it because, when we argued our case in the Supreme Court, I came out of there saying, well, we got Justice Ginsburg. She's going to rule for us. And she dissented and read the dissent from the bench. So that's one.
And you were sitting there going, huh, I guess we didn't get Justice Ginsburg.
I was wrong about that one. But yeah, I confess I've allowed because of the way this is going, I've allowed myself to think, what is going to happen if he gets acquitted? I told you earlier, I'm sure I said this, I know I thought it, that there's 0% chance of an acquittal. I'm going to stick with that. I think the best shot he's got is a hung jury.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that. But, after I've had a drink of brown water, I think I just imagine it's almost a fantasy, right? Because the odds of you getting 12 people that are going to fairly decide this without allowing politics to interfere with their decision-making process are so low. But almost as a fantasy exercise, I wonder what the CNNs or the MSNBCs of the world would do if he found himself acquitted.
You know what I'd do if that happened?
What's that?
I'd go get a Roll Tide flag, burn it in my front yard, and then post it on YouTube.
I'm going to hold you to that, okay?
Do you know how much more fun it is being on the radio with you in Tennessee than it was in Alabama?
I guarantee you I do. I experience it every week. Jay, thank you for everything. We'll talk to you soon. Hit them straight, my friend.
See you, brother.
Take care. There's Jay St. Clair. Jay, being the Tennessee Volunteer fan that he is, was on the radio with me for almost 20 years in Birmingham, Alabama, which is decidedly crimson. So it was a little more difficult to get rid of or get away with those jokes in Bama country. It is 1:51 on Super Talk. Hey, folks. Matt Murphy, I want to talk to you for just a moment about your food game. I know it's a personal question, but what are you doing this weekend for dinner? What are you doing for lunch? If you're not doing it with Savory Spice, might I suggest that you're doing it wrong? I have just discovered, and I've been talking about them quite a bit. Holly led me on to this. She said, Murph, you're not talking about the spice and easy preparation meals that we have at Savory Spice. I said, well, let me know and I'll do it. And now, oh my goodness gracious, the taco soup. Now, I think we did one of these easy prep for the crock pot, which was the Sunday pot roast, which is incredible. But now they've got taco soup, they've got dill risotto, they've got all sorts of different flavors. And you don't have to worry about the preparation because it's so easy. That's why they call it spice and easy at Savory Spice. So you get the package. They tell you exactly what you need to pick up at the grocery store. They tell you exactly what you need to do with that. Then you dump the package in to that prepared item, and then you mix it up and let it bubble for whatever amount of time it needs to. And then you have a delicious meal for you and your family, and you don't have to worry about measuring out spices or what to put where or when to put it. It's all right there for you at Savory Spice. Great gift-giving ideas at Savory Spice. And don't forget, grilling season is here, and they've got all of your grilling needs at Savory Spice. 2 locations, L&L Market in Nashville, just off of Charlotte Pike. They're on the square in Franklin, right next to Gray's Pharmacy. Go by and see them. Tell Holly and David that you learned about them from Matt Murphy on The Matt Murphy Show. It's the one and only Savory Spice. Great response on the membersnutrition.com super text line. What crime can the jury consider for guilt? Well, that is the big question. John from Lawrenceburg writes that in, and they have yet to connect any of this. They have yet to tell the defense what felony they're charging Donald Trump with, except to say that he used the misdemeanor crime of covering up the details of the payment to facilitate a further crime. And they're claiming the further crime was to get elected president of the United States of America. And that isn't a crime. So how they connect those two things, they would have to suggest in-kind federal campaign donations, some sort of RICO racketeering statutes. I don't know what they're doing. Secondarily, it's wrong for anyone to sit in court for the weeks that this has been going on and not fully understand the felony they're being charged with. And the judge in the case just allows the prosecution to go on without telling them. It makes no sense. Precious little of this does. Boy, we're going to make some sense of this Friday in just a moment. Right after the news, I already love this topic. I already love this trade subject. And we haven't even gotten into the trade yet. But I have questions, and we'll get answers with Mac Morey next on Super Talk 99.7 W10.
Two o'clock, I'm Mac Morey with your top story. 77 degrees, a cloudy, wet day here in Nashville. Expecting showers on and off through today, through maybe even Sunday. Could be a wet weekend. Weather forecast coming up 2 minutes. Derek Dennis brings us the latest from today's testimony at the Donald Trump hush money trial.
Lunchtime in the continuing hush money trial of former President Trump. But before the break, a star witness on the stand, Hope Hicks, the former Trump White House communications director who left and turned against Trump, now testifying for the prosecution. She was in Trump's inner circle during the release of the famous Access Hollywood tape, where Trump is heard allegedly talking about violating women.
This may be the most intense we've seen Trump pay attention throughout a witness's testimony. He has frequently closed his eyes or saying, he's been in deep thought. Sometimes he'll look down, scribble notes. He's engaged with the testimony. He is, after all, the defendant on trial. But I'm not sure he's closed his eyes once when Hope Hicks has been on the witness stand.
ABC's Aaron Katersky at the center of the case, whether the former president hid payments to porn star Stormy Daniels to cover up an alleged affair.
And back here in Tennessee, crime, 55-year-old Samuel "Sammy" Sylvester, a music producer in Williamson County, was charged with rape this week. Officials say that this happened between 2009 and 2010. It was to a 16-year-old female musician, Abby George. Each of Sylvester's 7 counts call for an 8 to 12-year sentence. That investigation does remain active. Sylvester's sentence date has not yet been set. That is the latest news. Weather on the way. I'm Mac Morey, WTN News.
Buffalo hot wings, they're orange. That's exactly how I sound, too. Actually, excuse me. I got my little glasses on. I've become Dan Mandis. I've decided we're going to draft. We're getting the order. Look. I like it better than that. Well, but also I want to eliminate the possibility of tells because, and this is partially me admitting I know exactly what Bell's holding. But yeah, I can tell. I can see it. I can see how he's holding his hand. What he's holding. So it's like you're a little tougher. But small fingers. You know what small fingers mean? Small pecker. That's what it means. So exactly what it means. Micro penis. That's what it means. So by the way, are you in with Buck every day now? Yeah. So because they moved Lucas into studio? Good for you. Congratulations. That's awesome. So are you still part-time? But you're every day. No, that's a step in the right direction, baby. Step in the right direction. Baby steps. All right. We have to go to a radio show now. Thank you. I absolutely love what we do on a day-to-day basis from noon until 3. I love the fact that we dive deep into these issues that matter to you. I love the fact that you interact on the Members Nutrition Super Text line and on the phone lines about the serious topics of the day, whether it's presidential politics, state politics, whether it's dealing with, campus interdiction and interactions with protesters. All of those things are very, very important. And so I'm taking away nothing from those portions of the day when I say that one of my favorite hours is upon us. Really one of my favorite days. We had Friday, spending some time with St Clair, and now it's time to do a little something different away from the politics of the day, away from the headlines. We like to spend some time celebrating the coming weekend and spending some time with our good friend, and I almost said friend and radio buddy, but that's Brian Wilson. That's a different guy. This one is affectionately known as Cougar Chow. I didn't name him that. I didn't call him that. The Cougars call him that. It's Mac Morey, and it's Friday Mac Attack.
Oh, yeah.
I'd just like to, for those of you watching on Super Talk TV, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, you already know, but for those listening on the radio, what a professional am I that I managed to get through the open while Mac Morey is doing some sort of reconstruction of the studio with his camera. Is everything okay over there?
You camera chaos. We're good now. Yeah, I'm looking great.
You look fine. You look good. It looks like we're in two different rooms. We're not.
It really does. It's actually insane how different it looks.
It does look.
I swear, we're right next to each other.
We're right next to one another, but you get the fuzzy filter. I don't know what's happening.
Different lighting. Yeah, different back. It's all weird.
You notice I've turned all the lighting my way because I need everything I can get.
You look great. You look
great.
Thank you. I feel like I've barely gotten to talk to you this whole week.
I know. Well, I mean, that's your fault, not mine.
Okay. Well, I don't know. Debatable. Little Mermaid
How's
Jr.
it been going?
Finding Nemo Jr. It's been great.
Oh, that's true. That's right. You switched to flippy flop.
Yeah, we flip flopped. I didn't get to see you.
It's all good. It's all good. Belle, you doing okay over there? Everything all right with you?
I'm just being irritated by the cameras.
What's wrong with the cameras?
People need to stop touching them. Max shouldn't have had to have done all that mess.
Well, you know what? You get anything in a radio studio, and it's going to get fiddle-farted around with. I mean, that's just the reality of everything.
Well, we need to start executing people.
Unless you somehow put a cage around it and make it static or whatever. But I don't know about all of that.
Just bring your rifle in, please.
If I were king of the world, then a lot of things would change about the TV side of things.
If you were king of the world, you'd have a lot of lobbyists hanging out in your office.
If you were king of the world and worrying about our WTN TV stream, I would be really concerned.
If I were king of the world, a lot of you people would be in grave danger.
Speaking of executions.
grave danger. Okay, so would you like to describe, have we figured out a convenient one-sentence way to describe what we do on Friday night? I feel like we have to bring the newbies in.
Yeah, every time. We draft random things on Fridays.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes they're more random than others.
Yeah, sometimes they're topical and go with a holiday or something that's happening in the world. Sometimes they're just random, like today.
I love this topic.
Today, I was just like, let's be vague, let's be broad. Today we're going to draft things that are orange. Draft things that are orange. Orange things.
Orange things.
Yep. We'll each get 3 picks, 3 rounds.
Let's just go ahead and pull the curtain back and say the quiet part out loud. You were thinking about the volunteers, weren't you?
Maybe he's thinking about the balls. Thinking about boys.
I mean, it's a freebie.
Way to give it up.
It's a freebie pick for you.
It is.
I mean, because I'm not picking it.
No. You could not. That'd be bad. You couldn't do that.
No. I mean,
all right. Yeah.
Glory, glory to Georgia. Glory, glory to
segment.
Georgia. And to hell with Tennessee.
It's Friday Mac Attack.
The
play the ball song in this segment, but
no, we don't.
That's what I would think. That's what we talked about in pre-show meetings.
Yeah, we talked about it in the prep. And
that's right. When we get together collectively in the conference room, and I consistently say, it's Friday Mac Attack, it's not Friday Murph Attack. That's the rest of the week.
Exactly.
It's the whole point of the segment. I have made an executive decision, and you, as the leader of Friday Mac Attack, have agreed with it.
Yeah, I agree completely.
We're going to trash the way that. So I'm holding 3 pieces of paper, Bell.
1,800.
Okay, very good. Then you're going to draft 1,800.
Nice job.
Congratulations.
Okay,
got it.
And they have 1, 2, and 3 on it. And because you're not in the room, I'm going to give you the opportunity to pick which one you want to pick.
The one in the center.
The yellow one? All right, so you picked the one in the center, which is...
Wow. Bell, number one.
Yes.
You're left. Okay.
Yeah, there you go. All right, that we have selected our draft order, and Bell has picked number 1. I am number 2. And McMorey is number 3.
All right.
We are drafting things that are orange. Let me set a few ground rules.
Oh, yes, please. I know you had a question.
How orange does it have to be? Mostly orange? Like when you think of it, you have to think that it's orange?
Yeah, absolutely. We don't need to sit. Yes.
Okay.
There's a hint. There's a quite silent hue of, no, none of that.
Right, sure. I get that. And I thought I had another question, but I don't guess I do.
Can it be like blood with hepatitis in it, yellow, orangish?
Yeah, you know what, man?
Yeah, that's all
if you want to, you're the number 1 pick. Go ahead. Is the pick in? Are you picking hepatitis
absolutely
blood?
not.
Bell K selects it as number 1 number 1 pick of the 2024 Orange Draft.
Wrong.
Pamela Anderson's blood.
Wow. No, I'm going to go with the most basic and simple thing. Take it right off the board. Orange juice.
Okay.
Good.
Orange juice.
Good pick.
That's mine.
That's a great pick. That's a great pick. It's a great pick
Is your vitamin C?
Because it frees up my pick.
Yeah. What is this?
My number 1 selection in the 2024 Best Things That Are Orange Draft.
Oh,
wow.
Wow.
Is Donald J.
Nice.
Trump.
Orange Man, first round.
Orange Man, first round. The commentators, the experts cannot believe that Bell K left him on the board.
It's the best draft pick.
It's the best pick. I should have been number 1. I can't believe Orange Juice beat me.
You should know better.
Donald Trump is my number 1 selection in the Orange Draft. Thank you. That was
nice.
Thank you. I'll be here all the week. All right.
Well, I was really excited. I thought I was going to have the best pick in the first round. Dang it.
Well, you going to go Sunsets?
No, that's on my draft board. It might make
That's a good one.
It is a good one.
You know, if you want to get romantic.
I'm going to do basketball. Give me basketball.
That's good. I could go. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like a basketball?
Yeah, basketball. They're orange.
Yeah.
That's the official color.
Thank you. Thank you, Bell.
What?
Yeah.
What world am I? You think that's a good pick?
Yes.
It's a basketball?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like if I don't have a basketball, I can have a soccer ball. And by the way, I don't know that I believe that basketballs are orange.
They're orange.
They're more brown.
Come
They're
on.
orange.
No. Stop this.
Okay, that last part.
Mac, he's really good at being wrong.
He is.
Even when he's wrong, he's convicted.
He's talking about the leather stripes.
WNBA basketballs, they're not orange. Basketballs don't have to be orange. Here's my guy, huge. I've already won the draft. Brian has declared it. Thank you. Bill, your second selection in the 2024 Orange Draft, pardon me.
George, Dreamsicles.
It's not bad.
It is. It is pretty bad. Is it time for me?
No. And it won't be for a long, long time. Even on your own show.
Dreamsicles?
Yes. I like Dreamsicles.
You like Dreamsicles more than any other thing you can think of that's orange besides orange juice? It's your pick, man. It's your draft. That's okay. If you want to be...
No, he's
okay, you're right.
You want to be the Atlanta Falcons
absolutely.
for the rest of your life.
I'm taking it back. I'm going to redo the pick. I'm going to go with Captain America: First Avenger.
All right, I'm going to demonstrate to you how poor of a pick Dreamsicles is.
You're going to show us how to scout.
I'm going to show you how to do it. The number 2 selection after Donald Trump in the 2024 Best Orange Things Draft is Hooters.
Dang.
That encompasses food. It's Hooters is what it is. So...
It's Hooters, man. So I explain.
I think I just leave now, right?
No, I think that's it.
Thank you.
Wow. You've had some good drafts. This one might be peak.
Dreamsicles. Bring your Dreamsicle to Hooters. I bet it'll melt.
I'm in trouble. Dan just told me to text him after the show. It's probably the Dreamsicles pick.
That's it.
That's the thing that will destroy our relationship and this radio show. I can't believe you picked Dreamsicles. That's my Mandis impersonation. Okay, go ahead. Your number 2 selection for Mac Morey in the 2024 Best Things Orange Draft is...
You've rattled me. I'm a GM across in the other boardroom thinking like,
Mac.
Dang, I thought we had this.
Mac, it's his show, yes. It's your segment. Do not let the man rattle you.
You're right.
I think you need to think bigger.
I know, I think so too.
No, you don't. You need to think exactly how you want to think in your segment.
I kind of like sunsets, but he made fun of that.
I've got a better one. I've got a sentimental pick.
I'm going to take sunsets. Damn it.
Are you going sunsets?
Yes.
Yeah. I've got...
Thank you.
Sunset. By the way, on the... we got some commentary on the membersnutrition.com super text line. 1972 says, Hooters for the victory, draft over. 7736, Matt has won. Philip says Mac won, and I'm pretty sure that's just giving you a little courtesy.
Thank you.
I don't even remember what your basketball was. That
it's a great pick. I'm very confident in that pick. Sunset's not as much.
See, he's saving the Vols for last because he knows nobody else wants it.
That's right. I mean, we know what his last pick's going to be.
I'm getting Tom Brady in the 6th round. It's all good.
And that's
the Vols.
Tom Brady in the 6th round?
It's the Vols.
When's the last SEC championship over there?
Okay. All right.
Okay. I mean, I get it. I get it.
We're on the up and up, man.
Look, when we do the red draft, I promise you Georgia Bulldogs are going to be in there.
Yeah, right? You know who I'm picking.
I was debating whether or not to pick this because it's extremely personal, but with all of your curmudgeonness in this segment, I've decided to use it to irritate you to absolutely no end. But when I was 5 years old and my parents bought our first house, it was a standard 70s type house and it was decorated like the 70s, except the room that I picked, the walls had been painted fluorescent orange. Mm-hmm. So I picked my 5-year-old room when I was a kid.
That's nice.
No. It irritates him, and I can see it in his eyes. He's hating it, and I'm loving the fact that he's hating it.
I just don't know what we're doing.
You don't need to know, sir. It's the Friday Mac attack.
The best orange thing in the history of orange things is your room when you were a kid.
Yes.
I mean, maybe you were doing some pretty special things in that room. I don't know.
Fluorescent orange. Somebody actually painted the damn room.
This is going to be, yours is going to be the Tennessee Volunteers. I think we know that. But so this is going to be the toughest pick. And I think we need to go through a few honorable mentions. I'll go ahead and tell you what I'm going to pick. I'm going to pick campfires as my orange thing. Because with campfires comes friendship. That's my sentimental pick over sunsets.
Okay,
is
nice.
Campfires.
Specifically campfires.
Campfires. Because anytime you're around a campfire, I promise you're having a good time.
It's songs,
you're surrounded,
it's drinks,
it's drinks, it's family, it's friends. Everything that comes with a campfire, campfires is my selection.
Yeah.
I thought strongly about going Halloween. Which I thought would have been a strong pick.
And I would give you that. Halloween's orange. Yeah,
I mean,
orange.
if I told you what color Halloween is, you would say orange.
Orange and then black. Yeah.
Right. So, some honorable mentions because I actually bothered to think about this segment, Belle.
I'm not even thinking about it right now.
I've already forgot.
We know. Trust me.
And Sandra did actually remind me of one I should have used, and I didn't do it.
1800?
No. My ginger cat.
Oh.
I thought I actually thought you were going there. I
should
thought that's where you were going. I asked the question to the listening audience. I asked you this earlier and you granted it to me. Are hot wings orange?
Buffalo wings, yes.
Buffalo wings.
Yes,
Buffalo
they
wings,
are.
Yep.
But I felt like my Hooters pick. I'm going to get some Buffalo wings in there.
Yeah, you got that in there. That's part of
when
it.
you got Hooters 2 for $1.
I thought if you just go cheddar cheese, you could do a lot of things with cheddar cheese, man. A lot of things with cheddar cheese.
That's more of a hepatitis yellow.
If you want to do some personal home improvement for Belle's grade school room there, you could have gone Home Depot.
Yeah,
which is orange. Obviously, Cheetos, Cheez-Its,
sure.
cheese balls would have been my personal selection, but
$25.29.
That's red, isn't it?
What is it?
Well, technically,
Pamela.
We call it red, but it's orange.
It's Belle K, Pamela, not me. So we could have gone a tiger.
Yeah, I was thinking tiger. Specifically, you could have gone like Tigger from Winnie the Pooh.
Mm-hmm.
What Tiger Woods isn't orange?
Huh.
Mac and cheese, but
that's yellow.
You got the cheddar. No.
I think it's yellow.
It's yellow.
What the hell are you talking? What kind of mac and cheese are you two eating?
Well, if you look at like Kraft, I mean that's yellow. What are we doing?
I thought Bullet Bourbon.
Velveeta?
Bullet Bourbon has an orange label, but I felt like I would get some Bullet Bourbon for the campfire. So
yeah, it's all in.
Bigger.
Yeah, you get that at Hooters. Yeah.
I feel like I've destroyed this draft. I really do. Even with the volunteer. Go ahead and make the official.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Give him the bell for the official last pick of the. Go ahead. Have your moment, Mr. Moore.
I mean, Pat Summitt, Jason Witten, the captain, Peyton Manning himself. Mm-hmm. I mean, so many Reggie White, so many legends.
Why are you justifying this? You don't need to justify.
Candace Parker.
You're tugging on people's heartstrings to justify a perfectly reasonable pick.
This is just backing it up.
Butch Jones.
Oh, okay. No. Shush. Derek Dooley. No.
Lane Kiffin when he sucked.
The Tennessee Vols, baby.
Whoa.
Yes.
It's a good draft. It's a good draft.
I'm glad that you liked this one. And you know what? From now on, mark my words here, buddy. You will rue the day that you destroyed this draft because the prep level for me is stepping up.
U-Haul is another good example.
Matt,
I mean, that
saying the prep level stepping up doesn't mean a lot.
But what did I say to you when you told me at like 135? I said it's almost too big.
Yeah.
Because I started thinking about
your first reaction.
Started thinking about orange things.
Yeah,
it's almost too big.
That's fair.
I mean, if we wanted to go more utilitarian, you could have gone construction zone cones that save lives. Holy, I almost said a bad word. The sun.
The sun.
The sun.
sun.
None of it.
We wouldn't live without
It gives
the sun.
the very life that we enjoy. There are no campfires or sunsets. Well, technically, I think you might have got the sun.
We need to expand this to 25 picks and extend it into Brian's show.
Yeah, that's exactly.
All orange talk all the time. Oh, Peter says the Buccaneers. Poor Peter.
Oh yeah, I guess back in the day with the creamsicle.
I'm getting a lot of General Lee from the Dukes of Hazzard. I respect that. I appreciate it. That's all good. That's orange. I'm getting several Home Depot. I'm getting several jail garbs because I know we have a lot of people that are incarcerated that listen. Whataburger is pretty good. Remember that time that I sent you to Whataburger and everybody almost got fired? Remember that? That was always that's good times.
That's great.
Hey, look, all I know is I got a banana milkshake out of it, and that was a win.
I really believe firing would have been worth it. That's how good. That's how good the banana milkshake was. There it is, our 2024 Orange Draft Friday Mac Attack complete on Super Talk 99.7 WGN. Thank you, Mac Moore.
Of course, thank you.
We'll be back. Hooters for the win. Hey, there's this fruit called an orange. It's why it's like the number one pick for this draft. Number 2 is orange. Oranges are the reason that oranges are called orange. But this one had number 3, sunsets. What you're doing around a campfire, whatever. I don't know what you're doing. I love how people are getting angry that none of us selected an orange. But I mean, you kind of did. Yeah, I mean, I think that takes care of it. I don't know that we get better reaction on the Members Nutrition Super Text line at any other part of the week than we do when we have Friday Mac Attack. Many of you very passionate about how you feel regarding our draft and our draft of orange things. I'll go over a few of those for you in just a moment. But did you know that you can not only text us, you can also offer voice messages on the Super Text line? And Jason has done just that. I previewed it, and he has this to say.
The Murphy Show is anecdotally number one with people in jail.
Well, I mean, I think that's a little Chris Hand callback there, the anecdotally,
Wow.
but I feel like we have more jailbirds listening to the Matt Murphy Show than any other show.
Certainly more active
participation.
Yeah.
I mean, Sean regularly calls us from a mental institution, and I'm not joking, and I'm not making fun.
On the criminal listener, we would be like through the roof.
Well, I mean, I think closely followed by, and maybe Chris Hand would make an argument that he might have more jailbirds listening to his show. I think of the four of us, of the Dan Mandis Show, The Drive with Brian Wilson, Matt Murphy, and Chris Hand, it's Chris Hand and Matt Murphy 1 and 1A, certainly. But one way or the other, we've got Hooters outfits. Yes, we covered that. Cale Yarborough, Hardy's car, orange watermelon. Orange watermelon. Is there such thing as an orange watermelon?
What? There's a yellow watermelon. But
it doesn't make any sense.
There's an orange one.
Hey, I don't know if you guys know, but there's this something that I eat every morning. It's a fruit. It's called an orange.
I picked orange juice. What more do you want?
No, I think that covers oranges.
Yeah.
I think that takes care of
I was thinking about it. I eat like 3 oranges a day, so I almost drafted it.
Should have gone with that then.
Orange watermelon, totally a thing. These look pretty cool.
Oh, do they now? They made in a lab somewhere? Have you seen the square watermelons?
Yes.
What?
Would you eat a square watermelon?
Sure.
Genetically modified? Well, I mean, don't they just modify where they...
What?
You've never seen a square watermelon?
They grow them in a box.
What?
It's like how they get the pears inside of the bottles, right?
Oh, my gosh.
They grow the pear inside of the bottle. Have you seen that?
Yeah. Then they...
Are you looking at the...
Yeah.
Are you looking at this?
Yeah. Square watermelon shipment start in Zentushi, Western Japan.
Easier to ship, easier to cut. They claim that square watermelons are superior in every way to naturally occurring watermelons. Whataburger sucks. Okay, Whataburger has a critic. I get that. If you are a CEO or a muckety-muck at Whataburger, that was not me that said that. I would love to do endorsements for you. Bugs Bunny and his carrot. Okay, carrots. Okay, sure.
Yeah, Bugs Bunny,
carrots. No. You know what? If this were not a 3-round draft, if this were, I don't know, a 200-round draft, I would probably at some point get to carrots. Dunkin' Donuts, no thank you. I'm not a Dunkin' man. I'm more of a Krispy Kreme guy, and when we have the green draft, I'll consider it. What about Orange Man? I was my number one pick. What are you talking about? Orange Man.
So this is appointment listening, people. You got to be here at the start.
You got to be here at the start.
Yeah, 2:00 every Friday. Mac Attack. Be here at the beginning.
I don't know what to tell you. People are giving me hell because I didn't pick the General Lee. And look, I love the General Lee. I loved the Dukes of Hazzard. I get it, but I picked Donald Trump, Hooters, and campfires. I don't know what to tell you. I stand by my picks. 0388 writes in Tang.
The drink? Is that a drink? What is that?
Yeah,
Tang.
it's a
dude. What?
It's a beverage that became famous because they used it on the lunar missions because it was powdered and they didn't.
For the record, I don't know if he's talking about the drink or not. The state flower is a construction barrel, and you should have gone construction barrels or turn signals. And there you go. There's our 2024 orange draft. It's 2:32 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.232, I'm Mac Morey with your top story. 76 degrees, mostly cloudy, been a rainy day. Could have a wet weekend ahead. Weather forecast on the way. Federal prosecutors have filed criminal charges today against Texas Democrat Congressman Henry Cuellar and his wife, Imelda. Stephen Portnoy with details.
It's a 14-count indictment charging the Texas congressman and his wife with taking $600,000 in bribes from a Mexican bank and an oil and gas company owned by the government of Azerbaijan. Prosecutors say in exchange for the money, Cuellar and his wife did the bidding of the bank and the former Soviet republic. In a statement before the indictment, Congressman Cuellar firmly asserted his innocence and claimed prosecutors refused to hear the couple's side of the story.
Here in Tennessee, a missing man. Murfreesboro police searching for Benjamin Ledford. He's recently made statements of self-harm. He's also bipolar. He was reported missing yesterday. He's believed to be driving a black Honda Passport with license plate BLQ 4964. If you have any information, you are asked to call police. And Britain's ruling Conservative Party taking a battering in local council elections in England and Wales. Details from Tom Rivers, who's in London.
As the counting goes on, one thing is clear. The governing Conservative Party is suffering heavy losses as the local results pour in. And that's piling yet more pressure on Prime Minister Sunak ahead of a general election in which the main opposition Labour Party appears increasingly likely to return to power after 14 years. Local campaign issues may be about things like patching up roads, but they provide an indicator of the mood of the country, with a national election looming.
And that is the latest news. Weather on the way. I'm Mac Morey, WTN News.
Have you run ads for me? Oh, thank you. Hey, folks, Tennessee Men's Clinic wants you to call them, especially, guys, if you're feeling low energy or low motivation or drive. It's Matt Murphy for the Tennessee Men's Clinic. When I was first asked if I would speak on behalf of the Tennessee Men's Clinic, I was a hearty hello and yes. I mean, I believe in making men aware of their options, especially when it comes to middle age and especially when it comes to more sensitive topics. And I understand that it's sensitive when we talk about bedroom activity. That's why, I don't do it in a salacious way. I don't go there necessarily and talk about your personal details. But I know this, that half of the men listening to me right now will experience some form of, shall we say, challenge from a bedroom perspective at some point in their lives. And wouldn't you want to know the path of success for you? If other things have failed you, it's time to get with the Tennessee Men's Clinic and let one of those qualified urologists there give you an examination. It doesn't have to cost you an arm and a leg to do so, and they will get you back right, and they will get you back to normal days activities, or as the case may be, nights activities. It's all about your energy, motivation, and drive at the Tennessee Men's Clinic, and there are certain areas that you need to check to understand where you are and where you can get to. Go to the TennesseeMen'sClinic.com for more information, or give them a call and schedule an appointment today. 2 locations, one's been in Midtown since 2014. The other opened last year in Franklin. That's in the Cool Springs area. It's Tennessee Men's Clinic, TennesseeMen'sClinic.com, or 615-208-9090, 208-9090. All right, back to more serious things. Thank you to McMorey Belkay for joining us in another edition of Friday Mac Attack. That was a lot of fun. We'll check in with Brian Wilson coming up in just a moment, but there are more serious matters happening. I mentioned that not a lot of news breaking. Some news surrounding the Donald Trump trial is breaking, and I want to comment on that before we get out of here. Hope Hicks is a former member of the communications team with the Trump administration, and she was a much ballyhooed witness in the Trump trial in New York City. It was a lot of sound and fury signifying nothing. There were almost no significant takeaways from Hope Hicks' testimony. If you're not aware, Hope Hicks took the stand today. We were bombarded with warnings from the mainstream media that this would be explosive. If you didn't like Pecker's testimony or you didn't feel like it was enough for you, that would be David Pecker, the CEO of the National. Don't give me that look. Don't give me that look. Then Hope Hicks is your girl. She will show you how dastardly Donald Trump is. She will demonstrate just what Donald Trump did and did not do. Well, So, according to most media experts and most on hashtag #NeverCNN, Hope Hicks would be a big deal witness. Well, on day 11 in his criminal trial in Manhattan, New York City, New York State, USA, land of the free, her testimony came to a lot of nothing. Now, she's just wrapping up. Former White House aide, former Trump aide Hope Hicks finished her testimony. And I obviously am not in the courtroom, but I'm absorbing some of what's been going on in the courtroom, and I'm trying to relate it to you in real time. Now, as you all know, Hope Hicks worked in public relations in the Trump organization. She eventually worked as a communications aide. She was press secretary for his Trump presidential campaign in 2016. She was communications director within the Trump White House. She was obviously close or as close to the inner circle as one could get. And her testimony, to say the least, disappointed liberals who want a gotcha moment on the stand with regard to Hope Hicks. So there's not a lot going on there except to say that this trial really hasn't connected the dots for anyone watching. And it provides me, as I mentioned with St Clair, a certain sliver of hope. Now, I'm not hedging my bets on this, and I'm not betting the farm on any of this. But as we sit here rationally and absorb what we believe the jury is taking in this case, there has yet to be any connective tissue between what is obviously a misdemeanor. And by the way, the defense has yet to mount their defense. This is all due to the cross-examination of the prosecution witnesses that they are bringing forward to suggest that Donald Trump engaged in this criminal-level activity. If I were, and I'm not an attorney, obviously, but if I were sitting at the defense table formulating my game plan for mounting our defense, it would be a simple one. What is the crime that we are talking about here? In order for you to determine whether or not you believe someone is criminally guilty, you have to understand what they're guilty of. It is not enough to suggest that Donald Trump is a sleazebag. It is not enough to suggest that Donald Trump's not a good guy. It's not enough to suggest that Donald Trump was a bad president. It is not enough to suggest that Donald Trump slept with a woman that was not his wife. It is not enough to suggest that he bought her silence. You have to then demonstrate to me beyond a reasonable doubt that he did so engaging in other criminal activity, and he did so for the purpose of covering up other criminal activity. And they have yet to tell us what that criminal activity is. Now, they have used this odd logic that he paid Stormy Daniels off, and he did so in the way that he did by giving money to his lawyer after the lawyer already delivered the goods to Stormy Daniels, so it would not get out in the press. And they are suggesting to you that none of the other reasons that are possible for doing that are valid in any way other than he wanted to run for president of the United States. Not to shield it from his wife, not to shield it from his children, not to shield himself from embarrassment, not to shield his business efforts and to hurt ultimately his businesses if this information were to come out, that he did it specifically for the reason of protecting himself against his run for the 2016 election cycle. And in order to believe that, you have to believe that it amounted to an in-kind campaign donation, which obviously is not illegal, but you have to mount that and you have to file it. Well, the federal government has already determined that they're not going to file charges against Donald Trump on that front. They've declined to do so because they've already had their butts handed to them when they tried to make this argument in the past. With John Edwards, who was a presidential candidate, who had an affair, had a child with the woman he was having an affair with, paid her off. I think that my memory fails me here. I think John Edwards used campaign money to do it. One way or the other, he was not found guilty in the federal charges against him. And then obviously Bill Clinton was never charged because the Clintons got away with just about anything they did in office, although Bill Clinton paid off numerous women who stepped forward during his run as president of the United States. And to my knowledge, not one of the women that he paid off was filed as an in-kind campaign contribution. 6997 says, you're missing the point, Matt. It doesn't matter if he's found guilty or not. The Democrats have controlled the timeline by tying him up in court. I actually think this helps him nationally. I think this is the best campaigning he can possibly do. You have Donald Trump going to these bodegas and hanging out with New Yorkers. You've got Donald Trump hanging out with construction workers who say F Joe Biden when interviewed by reporters. You have Donald Trump sending out pizzas to firefighters. After the trial, you have Donald Trump reminding America that he would like to be in the various states. He would like to be engaged in campaign activity, but he's unable. In the midst of all of this nonsense, people are aware that he can't campaign because he's being tied up because of Joe Biden. And the absolute ridiculousness of the case, whether or not it's getting to the jury, it's getting to the American people. And ultimately, aren't we really the jury? No, I do not live with this fantasy that Donald Trump will be acquitted. But I am becoming more and more of a believer that he will not be found guilty. Unless they have something that they're not showing, unless there's something big, and it will not be the liar Michael Cohen, I promise you that. because he changes his story more than Bell K changes his underpants. And that's like once a week at most. Unless there's something hidden under a rock somewhere, I don't know how you get 12 people, even 12 people in New York City, to agree that he's guilty of whatever flimsy charge you are charging him with that is yet to be revealed in court. It remains to be seen. We'll check in with Brian Wilson in a moment, find out what's going on the drive, get his thoughts on the Trump trial and Hope Hicks' testimony, as well as other things coming up on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. The 83rd running of the The 83rd running of the Iroquois steeplechase is Saturday, May 11th, and we have a special deal for you. Make your steeplechase tailgating a breeze by joining Super Talk 99.7 WTN, Matt Murphy, Chris Hand, and friends inside the all-inclusive Champions Corner VIP tent sponsored by Global Motorsports. Global Motorsports. Got to pre-read them because they don't write them correctly. One more time. Make your steeple... The 83rd running of the Iroquois steeplechase is Saturday, May 11th, and we have a special deal for you. Make your steeplechase tailgating a breeze by joining Super Talk 99.7, me, Matt Murphy, Chris Hand, and others in an all-inclusive Champions Corner VIP tent sponsored by Global Motorsports. Enjoy this incredible event with railside views that include food from our friends at Famous Dave's and beverages from Jack Daniels. You won't have to bring a thing, but yourself, we've got you covered. To purchase tickets, visit 997WTN.com. Do I have time to do it one more time? I didn't like that read. One more. I'll get it. 55-25. The 83rd running of the Iroquois steeplechase is Saturday, May 11th, and we've got a special deal for you. Make your steeplechase tailgating a breeze by joining Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Me, Matt Murphy, Chris Hand, and friends inside of an all-inclusive Champions Corner VIP tent sponsored by Global Motorsports. Enjoy this incredible event with railside views that includes food from our friends at Famous Dave's and beverages from Jack Daniels. You don't have to bring a thing but yourself. We've got you covered. Purchase tickets at 997WTN.com today. That's better. Super Talk 99.7 WTN, Matt Murphy and you for a few more moments before we hand off to the drive with Brian Wilson. 6292 on the membersnutrition.com super text line says Donald Trump's really revealing his sheer genius by doing what he can with what he's got by campaigning the best way he can in New York. You know, Donald Trump says, and I don't think it's so, but he says that he feels like he can win New York. Now, he's going to win New York everywhere but Manhattan. But Manhattan is where all the people are in New York. I mean, you know, there's Buffalo and there's, you know, a few Syracuse. There are a few other, you know, Albany obviously is the state capital. But in the hinterland, Donald Trump will carry New York. Manhattan is his trouble. But man, oh man, if you've seen the way people are reacting to him in Manhattan, I mean, it makes you think. It makes you scratch your head and wonder.
If I could do a quick callback to earlier in the show. Randy Carter on the F&M Bank chat line said, Murphy, we can hear you, and agreed the second time was better.
I'm trying to figure out what that means.
It means your second read of the promo was better.
How did they hear me?
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I do.
How?
Well, it's something you did.
No.
Well, it's not something I did, Bell.
It probably is.
Well, let's see if we can hear Brian Wilson. Brian Wilson of The Drive joining us every day to preview what's coming up and his portion of the broadcast day. Mr. Wilson, how are you, sir?
You know, I was listening to your comments about New York. I think the last poll that I saw out of New York, and you know, you would expect New York, largely a blue state because of Manhattan, where all the population is. He was only 10 points behind, which I thought was pretty surprising. You know, look, I think that New York probably will be a blue state. I think, you know, they're going to be blue states, they're going to be red states. And, you know, I keep looking at the battleground states, and he's doing okay in that regard. But there's something going on. You know, I know you're not a big believer in polls, but something has happened. And I think it has to do with a couple of things. I think people are looking at this trial, and they feel like it's completely unfair. I think Americans don't like things that are unfair. And they look at this and they say, this judge has got it in for the guy. And I think that's part of it. But I think the other thing is these protests have not set well with the American people when you see Palestinian flags flying over American college campuses. I think it irritates people, and they blame Biden for it. But because all of a sudden now, I've got poll after poll after poll where there seems to be something happening in a big way, I mean a significant way, toward Trump and away from Biden. So I think this is that the Biden administration now is panicking, and you see evidence of that by them trying to shove every regulation, every Green New Deal thing they possibly can into the pipeline out of concern that, well, we may not be here for a second term.
Well, Brian, I would humor myself to believe that I know 100th of the things that you know about the Beltway as long as you've spent time there and as much as you learned during your time there. But I hearken back to the fourth grade when I say I can encapsulate Donald Trump's political career by saying, I'm rubber, you're glue. It bounces off me and sticks to you, right? Yeah. Everything they do to him that they think's going to get him, like part of what they're doing in New York is to tie him up. And the listeners and we have commented on how this ties him up and prevents him from campaigning. But I'm not so sure that this isn't even better than standard campaigning for Donald Trump.
Yeah, in a way, I think that it is working to his advantage, and it's just frustrating the hell out of Democrats. He's Obi-Don Kenobi.
Strike me down, I shall become more powerful than
that's right.
You keep coming at me. I think Trump had it right when he said they're going to indict me all the way into the White House.
Well, I love it. What's coming up on the drive this afternoon, Mr. Wilson?
Well, we're going to start off. I mean, the Trump trial in New York just broke up, and Donald Trump came out, had some things to say. Today's testimony was Hope Hicks, and everybody said, oh, it's going to be bombshell testimony. I don't think that I think what this is they're trying to dig up every negative thing that they can possibly say about Trump. And they've been talking about the Hollywood Access tape again. I mean, my goodness, talk about ancient history. So I just think that they haven't got much. And you know who agrees with that so far?
Who's that?
The legal analyst at CNN of all places. Yeah. So we'll bring you up to date. There's some other stuff breaking about other trials and other cases, and we'll get into all of that coming up at the top of the hour after the news at 3 o'clock.
And a couple of spirited rounds of Phone Your Farb Friday, I expect.
You can count on that because it is Friday.
Well, there you go. There's Brian Wilson. He's coming up moments from now, right after McMurray's newscast. And Mr. Wilson will be here for 4 full hours, and I'll be listening to every single bit of that after McMurray's news. Have a wonderful weekend. I'm out for a few days. My niece is graduating college on Tuesday morning of all times, and so I'm out for a couple of days, but I'll see you later on next week. Until then, folks, have a wonderful weekend. So long, everybody.